Ernie Banks, 19 years with the Chicago Cubs, more than 500 career home runs, 90 triples, 407 doubles, 1,009 extra base hits, 1,636 runs batted in. Participant in 13 All-Star games, twice voted the most valuable player in the National League. In 1969, chosen by the Chicago Cubs fans as the greatest Cub ever. Ernie Banks, what a hitter. Ernie, no one is going to do much hitting without a bat. First, let's talk about that. The weight of the bat, the length, the thickness. There are so many things to consider.
Well, Len, the most important thing is selecting the bat, as you mentioned. It has to be the right weight. I think most of us try to get a bat that is around 31 ounces, about 35 in length, a bat that we can handle very well at the plate and cover the plate very well for outside pitches. It is very, very important to select the right bat. Most players in the major leagues try to select the bat and then change a little bit as the season progresses so that they can use a lighter bat in the latter part of the season and a heavier bat during the beginning of the season.
Now, how can a young fellow, let's say a lad who's 13, maybe 15, 16 even, how is he going to transpose a weight that you speak of? How many ounces did you say?
31 ounces.
31 ounces. All right. Now, let's say a fellow who's 15 years old. What kind of a weight should he seek?
I would say it depends a lot upon his strength. If he is a big kid, he should use a heavier bat, a bat about 33 ounces. If he is a smaller kid, he should use a 31-ounce bat. I think the style of bat should be left up to the individual. There's various styles. I use an S2 style, which is a Vern Stevens model. There's a U1, which has a thick handle. So various handles should be used according to the person who is using the bat. I think a 16 to 15-year-old youngster should use a lighter bat so that he can control it better and he can concentrate on contacting the ball more.
One of the secrets then for a young fellow would be to experiment, to not try to just pick out one bat and stay with it indefinitely, but use one for a game or so. Maybe even switch during a game. Try a bat with, say, a different size handle, a thinner handle, or maybe a handle that's a little thicker, and keep experimenting till he finds one that he can handle well, one that he can swing well, feels comfortable to him.
That is correct. You'll find that most Major League players are involved in changing bats. I used to change bats occasionally during the season. I would start out with an S2, and if it felt real good in my hand, I would use it and stay right with it. As the season got underway, I would change maybe to an R43, which is a little thicker handled bat. It all depends upon how you're actually swinging and how you feel and whether you're strong or not.
Ernie, I recall very well as a kid, and I'm sure you do too, and I assume it's still a big thing with the youngsters. You don't hear of it anymore. You don't hear it around professional baseball. But the position to hold the bat, as far as what is up and what is down, you remember the old bit about the trademark? You had to hold the trademark up or you'd break the bat because you only had one bat in the neighborhood. You know, if you broke that, the season was over. Is there anything to that, really? Should the youngsters be aware of this?
Well, yes. I think the youngsters should be aware of keeping the trademark toward you, and you can have a greater time with the bat. You won't break it as easy. But bats are broken because your timing is not as right as yet. You have to work at your timing, concentrate on hitting the ball, and until you get your timing down, then you start a little heavier swing. But most of us break bats because we don't have our timing down, and we hit the ball on the small part of the bat, we hit the ball on the end of the bat, and we break quite a few.
And that really hurts in April and May, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Ernie, as far as the hands on the bat are concerned, one of the great television shots, I think, in the telecasting of Major League Baseball is when cameras zoom in for an extreme close-up of your hands on the bat. And the fan can easily see, the viewer can easily watch how your fingers are flexing, how they are opening and closing on the bat. And I would imagine that some of the younger fans watching this would come up with a question or two. Should I hold that bat real tighter? Should I hold it looser? How does Ernie Banks hold that bat?
Well, I would suggest holding the bat loose, and I've always held it loose because I could have quicker hand action and my hands were really relaxed. I think to be a great hitter, you have to be relaxed in the batter's box. You can't be tight, your hands can't be tight, your legs, your arms. It has to be a loose movement at all times in the batter's box, and this is why I kept my hands moving on the bat while I was in position to hit the ball. And a bat is very important to all of us. I would advise youngsters to pick bats and keep their bats and keep it with them all the time and use their bats and take good care of their bats because it's a very important thing to have a good bat that you can handle and can hit the ball with.
Ernie, is there any difference in the grip of the left and right hand? I mean, would you try to pull the bat through, say, with the left arm, with the right arm acting more as a guide, or is there any difference there between the left and right hand and arm and how you use them?
Well, most of all, you have to get the right-handed end if you're a right-handed hitter. The top hand has to go through real fast on the ball. That's the follow-through, and I think this is important in hitting the ball for great distance and hitting the ball solid. But if your hands are a little slow on the bat, well, then you'll always hit the ball to right field or left field, hit to the opposite field. And what you want to do is get the fast hands moving. That's the top hand on the bat.
Well, let's go into that just a little more for the young fellas now about slow hands or fast hands. Explain to them what you mean by that.
Well, what I mean by that is if the ball approaches the plate, you have to move the bat, the front part of the bat, the fat part of the bat, out after the ball. And that means that you're getting your hands going. But if you wait till the ball get up past the plate and you swing late, well, then your hands are extremely slow. I find occasionally when I'm in a slump, I'm moving my body more than my hands. I'm kind of lunging out after the ball, and my hands are not coming through real quick. I think the shorter the stride, the quicker your hands are going to be, and which means that you can hit the ball for great distance and hit the ball solid.
If you're looking at a young fellow who's going to be a ball player, let's say he is a ball player, teenage ball player, and he's a fellow who wants to play every day. He does not want to be a pitcher. He wants to play in the outfield or infield. Perhaps he's a catcher, but he wants to hit. He wants to be a great hitter. If you were going to give him advice, what would be one of the first things you would size up on him physically? Would it be his hands, his wrists?
Well, most of all, his hands. I would say if he has quick hands and can move the bat quick, this would be one thing that is attracted to all the scouts. They look for this. They look for a level swing, not an uppercut type swing. Some youngsters come under the ball more than they come down on it on a level swing rather.
Well, I'd like to get into that a bit more, but what I'm referring to specifically is size of hands, size of wrists.
Well, the size of the hands doesn't matter as long as you can move them fast. Some fellows have small hands in the major leagues, like Billy Williams doesn't have real big hands, but very medium-sized hands, and he can move the bat real quick. You take a fellow like Frank Howard with the Texas Rangers, he has very large hands, and he can move the bat very quick. It all depends upon how strong they are, whether they're big or small. And some of the fellows work with weights and hand grips. I used to do this occasionally to strengthen my hands and strengthen my wrists.
Great forearm developer, too, I imagine, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it develops your hands and wrists and forearms so that you can swing the bat much quicker.
Ernie, let's talk a little bit about the angle at which the bat should be held. Should it be on the shoulder, off the shoulder? If off the shoulder, how far? And also about backswing, having that bat ready so you can whip it around there when that pitch comes in.
Well, you have to keep your arms away from your body primarily. The bat on your shoulder doesn't matter. Some fellows can hit with the bat on the shoulder, some hit the bat straight up, which I did. I hit my bat straight up a lot, and this was my natural way of hitting. But my arms were away from my body, which helped me have a freer swing. When your arms are in too close, well, then you can't swing as free, and you don't get too much power behind your swing. So I tried to keep my arms away from my body, the bat straight up, and try to concentrate on a level swing, and I gained great success from that method.
How about holding the bat up in contrast to holding the bat straight out, sort of pointed toward the catcher. In other words, let's say a young fellow is very concerned about getting a level swing. So instead of holding the bat up toward his shoulder or just off his shoulder in the manner, say, that you do, if he were to hold the bat back toward the catcher, almost pointing it toward the catcher, wanting to get it down where he's going to get a, say, a level swing at the height of the letters or belt high, would you recommend this, or would you say, no, do not do that? Does it really make that much difference?
No, it doesn't make that much difference. Harmon Killebrew holds his bat a little on that type of plane, and he's a successful home run hitter. I would say that it doesn't matter as long as you develop a level swing. If it's comfortable for you to swing that way with the bat slanted, then do it that way. If you can swing it straight up, well, then you hold it straight up. Or some of the fellows swing the bat, and then as the pitch is on the way, then they swing at the ball, they contact the ball. Different styles, but I think everybody should select a style that they can handle the ball best, that has the most success hitting the ball a certain way, and work at it. I think practice is a key thing to being an outstanding hitter. You have to continue to work at being a hitter and to build your confidence up.
Let me digress here for just a moment. Would you advise a young fellow who is hitting the ball well, let's say he's one of the better hitters on his team, wherever he might be playing, would you advise him to seek batting instruction from a coach or from a player with more experience than he has? Or would you say, as long as you're hitting well, forget about it, and advise only the fellows who are having trouble with their hitting to seek instruction?
Well, I would say if a fellow's having success in his hitting, he should just stay that way, not try to seek any advice from anyone. But if a coach feels that he's doing something wrong up there, maybe he's hitting well but not hitting the ball solid, and the coach want to change something, I think he should listen to him in that respect. But if he's hitting the ball solid and making good contact and hitting line drives and doing all the things he's capable of doing, then I don't think he should talk to anybody about changing his pattern or how he's hitting. However, when you're in a slump, I think that all of us should work on specific things that we're doing wrong. And primarily it's our overall attitude. As a hitter, sometimes you can lose all your confidence up there and you just don't hit.
As long as you mentioned slumps, let's let's get into that right now. Do you think maybe sitting out a while helps? Take a rest for a day or two?
Yes, it can help a great deal in a lot of ways. I think if you miss at least 2 games, not more than 3, and you take a little batting practice or no batting practice at all to kind of get your thoughts back together, not try to press so hard. The key thing in a slump is that you're trying too hard to come out of it and you're not relaxed, and that's why you can't do it. But 2 or 3 days out of the lineup where you just sit and watch the game and just relax, unwound a little bit, and get back in there, you can start hitting the ball right away. But the more you try in a slump, the tougher it is to come out of it. You just don't seem to have the rhythm, the coordination, and you just don't have the timing, and you just don't come out of the slump.
Of course, this might be a time to make a bat change, too.
Well, yes, you can make a bat change. You can change to bunting a little bit more. If you have some speed, you use that speed to try to bunt the ball or push occasionally by the pitcher so that you can keep contacting the ball. When you're in a slump, you're actually not watching the ball and really not concentrating on the pitch or the pitcher or the strike zone. So it makes a big difference in coming out of that slump.
Of course, this might be a time also to tell the pitchers, hey, quit throwing those curveballs.
Well, you could. Of course, all of us have some weaknesses that we can't overcome at the plate. Maybe it's a breaking ball, maybe it's a slider, knuckleball we can't hit, or maybe it's a fastball inside or outside or high or low that we can't hit. But I think we should work on those weaknesses to try to correct them, try to minimize that long slump. The great hitters stay out of the long slump. If you can go 8 or 10 games without a hit, then that's fine. But if you're going more than 8 or 10 games without a hit, you're in a real long slump, and it's hard to come back and keep your average at a good level.
Let's talk a bit about the velocity of the swing. I guess if there's one fault that more young ball players, by young ball players I mean teenage ball players, if there's one fault they have, that exceeds any other, it's probably, to use an old cliche, that they're trying to kill every pitch. I'd like to hear what your viewpoint is on how hard they should swing. How hard is it necessary to swing?
Well, you don't have to swing real hard to hit a baseball for great distance. The key thing is contacting the ball, and when you contact it, it'll go, and you have good time and rhythm, it'll go farther. I think most of us try to swing a little bit too hard. We try to overswing, and when we do that, our coordination isn't the same. We're off balance, we drop our arms, we turn our head, we swing under the ball, and that's what most pitchers like to see, hitters swinging hard. There are some guys that can swing hard, hit the ball, but the average player, his best bet is to just try to contact the ball. Now, how do you work on that? Is when you're taking batting practice, just try to hit the ball. Don't try to swing hard. Don't try to hit it out of the ballpark because a lot of people standing around watching. Just try to contact it. Just try to hit it. And you'll see all the great hitters in the major leagues. The Williams, the Hank Aaron, the Willie Mays, the Stan Musial, the Ted Williams, all these men, when they took batting practice, they took it for a purpose. They wasn't trying to knock every ballpark out of the park. They was trying to contact the ball and get their timing and rhythm down. Then after they got that down, then they start swinging a little harder. But the key thing is to try to contact the ball first before you start swinging too hard.
Let's talk a bit about pulling the ball, about hitting to the opposite field, and about hitting up the middle, trying to just put it out there right through the pitcher's box and out over second base.
Well, first of all, pulling the ball, you must have quick hand action. Whether the ball is inside or outside or high or low, I mean, your hands must really move fast, what they call a fast bat. Now, as far as hitting the ball to the opposite field, you more or less have to move the left hand or the right hand, if you're a left-handed hitter, out front so that you can slide the ball out to the opposite field. It's not a heavy swing on that ball that's hitting to the opposite field. It's just contacting it. You have to give up the big swing to hit the ball to the opposite field. Hitting the ball up the middle, you just concentrate on hitting the ball back up the middle. All you want to do is contact that ball. Just hit it. If it's inside or outside or up or down, just contact and hit it back up the middle. There are players in the majors who can do this extremely well. Roberto Clemente can hit the ball just about anywhere he wants to hit it. We used to call them place hitters, but I think it revolves a lot of practice and a lot of good timing. You can have good timing, but you can hit the ball to the opposite field extremely well.
Now, if he's going to try to hit the ball up the middle, let's say Clemente as an example, if he's going to try to hit the ball right up the middle, is he actually aiming? Is he really just trying to aim that shot right back at the pitcher's mound?
That's right. He's trying to aim it right back up the middle, right back at the pitcher, and he's not thinking about where the ball is going to be, whether it's in or out. He's thinking about hitting it right up the middle when it comes in there. It's really beautiful to watch this. I've tried it several times, and I just wish that I had done it more as a major league player. Somebody had really pushed me to concentrate on hitting the ball up the middle more. I would have been much more successful in the major leagues. And that is just contacting the ball and hitting it right straight up the middle, and you'd be surprised how many hits and how much success you can have doing it that way.
How about the position of the hands on the bat now for pulling, for hitting to the opposite field? If you change your hand, let's say you choke up on the bat to hit to the opposite field, would you be giving that away to the pitcher, to the defense?
No, there are a lot of fellows in the majors that choke up on the bat. I think you can still hit to the opposite field whether you choke up or you swing full length. It's just a matter of timing the ball and moving your hands out front and just contacting, not swinging hard. Hitting the ball to the opposite field, you don't swing as hard as you would pulling it.
But you would leave your hands in the same position on the bat?
Leave your hands in the same position on the bat, and it doesn't matter whether you choke up or not.
All right, let's, what else can we cover, Ernie, in hands on the bat and getting that bat through? This is very, very important. We don't want to miss any of this. Now, we've covered pulling the ball, we've covered hitting up the middle, we've covered hitting to the opposite field. How about change of feet, change of stance in hitting to the opposite field? Must you make that change before the pitch?
Well, you can occasionally drop your right foot back as a right-handed hitter. They hit to the opposite field. You can move straight back in the batter's box to hit the right field. You can move deeper in the batter's box to hit to the opposite field. You can change your position around in the batter's box, but you must remember the more you change, the pitcher is watching you and the catcher, and he'll know exactly how to pitch you when you move, where you're planning on hitting the ball when you move around the batter's box. If you can develop a style where you stay in the same spot and hit the ball to all field, then that would be to your advantage. I think a lot of us give that up. When we're going to hit the right field, we stand a different way. When we're going to pull, we stand a different way. But not to give it away to the pitcher, you have to stay in the same position to hit the ball to the opposite field, up the middle, and to pull.
Let's talk for just a moment about what's been known through the years. I guess they still call it that. I'm not sure, but I remember some years ago they called it foot in the bucket. When the hitter, whether he were a left-handed hitter or a right-handed hitter, would pull that lead foot back. He'd have that pulled back. And youngsters often will take a little abuse from teammates or from others for doing that. But still, there have been hitters, have there not, through the years, through the decades, who have been what they call foot-in-the-bucket hitters, who have been exceedingly fine hitters.
Well, that's true. They can step back. That's moving the right or left foot back and then swing it at the ball. They can do it for a lot of ways. You must keep the bat in the proper position when you do it, and your hands got to stay back. Hands and arms got to stay back. But if you move your foot in the bucket, then take the bat and your arms with you, then you won't be able to hit the ball. You'll be off balance. But there are a lot of great hitters in the majors that can step in the bucket and still keep the bat back and the hands back in good position and hit the ball with great power and hit the ball to all fields. I believe Dick McAuliffe has a unique batting stance, and a lot of people wonder whether he's going to be a fine hitter, but he would always keep that bat back when he stepped to the left or to the right after the ball.
Ernie, would you advise a fellow to get fairly close to the plate, not get back too far in the batter's box? By back, I don't mean back toward the catcher, but I mean deep in the box toward the outside line, because, gosh, he has a difficult time then, doesn't he, protecting against that outside pitches in the outside corner?
Yes, that's true. You can get closer to the plate. I've tried this several times. As I got older in my career, is to move up on the plate to get a better look at the pitch and protect the pitch on the outside part of the plate so I could hit it. And it worked real well. And you used to be surprised that when you're close to the plate, not too many pitchers want to pitch you inside. Take a young man by the name of Frank Robinson. He's right on top of the plate. And most pitchers, they're a little afraid to pitch him inside. When they do, they throw it in there and he get hit. But when they go away from him, he still got cover the plate real well and pull that ball. But if you like, you can stand up on top of the plate, and I'm sure that you can have great success at it. But you have to practice and stay at there until you get used to it, and then you do quite well.
Well, I guess Frank Robinson would be as great an example as I can think of that type of a hitter, because when you watch Frank Robinson, you realize that I guess there is no such thing as getting too close to the plate, because he stands so close that you figure an inside pitch just has to handcuff him. He's not going to be able to do anything with it. It's going to hit him on the hands if he swings at it, but still here is a guy who for how many years now, I guess it's at least 15, 16, 17 years, and has been one of the great hitters in baseball, and he almost stands on the plate. So it's up to the individual, isn't it? Wherever they feel they can do the job best.
That's true, and Frank Robinson has those quick hands. If you watch him in a ball game or in batting practice and somebody try to throw that ball inside on him, his hands are moving real quick, and he can wait on that ball and let his hands fly, and he hit it a mile to left field, hit it hard down the left field line. He just has that quickness. And then you have other hitters who stand deep in the batter's box. Matty Alou is way back in the batter's box, and he steps into the ball, and he can hit the ball all fields, and he very seldom strike out. Glenn Beckert is another type hitter that stands deep in the batter's box and stride into the ball and make contact with it. It's really beautiful to watch all these various styles of hitting, and I would say if a young man would develop his own style and stay with it and practice, that he can enjoy great success as a hitter and overcome the fear. I think the key thing is overcoming the fear as a hitter. sometimes you step in that batter's box and you just feel that you can't hit anybody, and the pitcher going to throw one at your head, and you just shake it in there, and it's tough to hit that way. You just have to step in that batter's box as if you're the greatest hitter that ever stepped in there. That confidence has to be there to be a great hitter.
I think perhaps the young fellow should remember that the guy who's out there on the mound, the fellow who's pitching against him, has the same problems that the hitter has. The hitter has to get on. He has to go up there and get his hit, but that pitcher has just as much responsibility. There's just as much pressure on him. He's going to have to retire the side. He's going to have to get someone out, and that he has just as much to concern him as the batter has. And the hitter should go in there not feeling that he's in any kind of a predicament, that the advantage is to the pitcher, but he has every bit as much chance. It's a 50-50 deal. It's you against the pitcher out there. Okay, so he has some fielders backing him up, but he still has to try to keep you from hitting that ball solidly, and you have just as good a chance of doing that as he has of stopping you.
That's true. I think the biggest demoralizer for all of us as hitters is striking out. You go through a spell where you strike out 10 or 15 times, and you begin to lose your confidence. But this is a time that I think every hitter should really buckle himself up and pick himself up and keep saying to himself that I'm going to hit. I know I can hit. I mean, keep repeating it to himself until he snap out of it. To strike out and walk back to the dugout and the fans are looking at you, strike out, walk back time and time again, it really takes a lot of the confidence away from you. But this is a time you have to really pick yourself up and say, I'm going to hit. I'm striking out now, but I'm going to hit the ball. And when you just think about contacting that ball, then your timing comes around, and you start hitting again. But try to stay away from swinging at bad pitches and striking out. It really can demoralize you as a hitter.
And that old confidence, right? You have to go in there with that confidence. You have to know that you can do it. You can hit the... If you are striking out, Ernie, let's say you have a little streak there. For a couple of ball games, you're striking out a couple of times or 3 times a ball game. You're going to start to make some kind of an adjustment then?
Well, yes. I've made several kinds of adjustments when I'm striking out a lot. First of all, I move it to a lighter bat. I crouch a little bit more so I can get a better look at the ball. I try to swing the bat 3 or 4 times before the pitcher gets set to relax a little bit in that position. I try to concentrate more on the swinging at strikes. If I'm going to strike out, I'm going to strike out at good pitches, not bad pitches, not high or low or outside or way inside. And I think at this time that you got to really, really analyze yourself and know the things that you do well. And then there's some things that you have to try. Use a lighter bat. Use a heavier bat. I know when I got to be 35 in the major leagues, I went to a heavier bat because I wanted to just try to contact the ball. I know I didn't have the great rhythm and timing and coordination, so I got a heavier bat, so I just knew psychologically that I couldn't swing it hard. I just had to just move it quick, just lay the bat on the ball, and enjoyed great success that way. So you have to make some changes when you're in a terrible slump.
Ernie, I'd like to hear your comments about keeping your eye on the pitch from the time it leaves the pitcher's hand. I've read many times where a variety of great hitters in baseball through the years have said that they actually see the bat and the ball meet. I'd like to hear your comments on that.
Well, that's true, Len. You can see the bat contact the ball when you're watching it. And this comes from deep concentration. You have to watch the pitch as soon as it leaves the pitcher's hand. Not his motion now. Sometimes you get confused watching all his motion, but you got to watch the ball as soon as he releases it. You watch the ball all the way into the plate, and you see if it's going to be a strike, then you go out after it. If it's a ball, you don't swing at it. But when you contact that ball and watching it, you can see the ball contact the bat, and it's really, really beautiful. It seems as though the ball is like a basketball coming up there instead of a baseball. And any great hitter would tell you, when he's hitting the ball well, the ball looks like a balloon. Looks like it come up there and just stop for you and let you hit it. And what he's doing, he is really concentrating, which means that he's watching that ball all the way into the plate. Sometimes various things can cause you not to concentrate. Sometimes noise in the stand. Sometimes maybe something happened at home, sickness in the family. Some little thing can cause you to break your concentration, and you don't watch the ball. That's why you strike out a lot. But when you're watching the ball, you're going to watch it right all the way up to contact that bat, and it's a great sight to see.
You mentioned this a while ago, Ern, about staying off those bad pitches. Let's talk about that a little more. Knowing that strike zone, how are the young fellas going to learn that strike zone? What kind of a habit can they get themselves into to prevent going for those bad pitches? Because that's sure going to chop that average down.
It certainly is, Len. I think one thing a young fellow should work on is when he's taking batting practice, just take a few pitches first. Just let the pitcher throw. Take about 5 or 6 pitches each turn in the batting cage. This way he'll get to watching the ball, have some idea about the strike zone and where the pitches are. And occasionally you can ask the catcher or the pitcher, was that a strike? It'll give you some idea where the ball is going to be and whether it's going to be a strike. This is to keep you away from swinging a lot of bad pitches, because those bad pitches can really hurt you. I know some of the youngsters probably heard of some of the hitters in the majors being bad ball hitters, but these fellas, there are some in the major leagues that can carry a ball club. They can hit that pitch. They are great hitters. They can really hit that good pitch. They can hit the bad pitch. They can hit almost anything well out of the ballpark. Henry Aaron is one guy that can do that extremely well. Billy Williams can do that extremely well. They can actually carry a ball club. Frank Robinson can carry a club. Brooks Robinson. You can make the good pitch on these fellas, and they'll hit the ball out of the ballpark to beat you. But to stay away from swinging at bad pitches, you have to really get in that batting cage and watch those pitches as they come in there, so you can have some idea whether they're good or bad.
In summation, Ernie, if you had to pick out, let's say 4 or 5 salient points here, what are the things that the young fella should keep in mind? What are the primary things to help his hitting game? What should he always keep in mind? Do these things whenever he has the opportunity to practice them. What are they? What are the important things about being a successful hitter?
First, select a proper bat, a bat that you can handle, light enough and long enough. Second, get in the batter's box and try to develop a comfortable stance in the batter's box. Don't spread too wide or too short, but a comfortable stance in the batter's box. Concentrate on keeping your arms away from your body. Your arms must be away from your body to swing free at the plate. You must use a short stride. Don't try to stride too hard and too far. Just a short stride is important in being a great hitter. Keep your head and eyes right on the pitcher, and when he releases that ball, you watch that release right from the hand and follow it all the way into the plate. Try to keep your hands relaxed on the bat. Try to keep your body relaxed in the batter's box by moving your body, by moving your hands. And when the ball arrives into the strike zone, make sure it's a strike, not a ball. Just concentrate on the ball being in a certain area. If it's in a certain area, you're going to swing at it. If it's away from you, you're going to let it go. And swinging at strikes is important in being an outstanding hitter. And you got to think about being a great hitter. You got to feel that you're the best hitter. You got to feel that you can hit. You got to believe that you can hit. And these are things that are important. Whenever anybody comes around and asks you, can you hit? You say, yes, I can hit. I can hit. Keep reminding yourself how well you can hit. But work on those 5 important things. A good bat, proper stance, keep the arms away from the body, short stride, watch the ball, keep your head and eyes right on the ball. And I'm sure you'll be a great hitter, and we're hoping to see you play in the major leagues someday.
Batting tips by Ernie Banks of the Chicago Cubs. This is Len Johnson. Good luck.